President Donald Trump arrived in Beijing to meet Xi Jinping for a critical summit, marking a high-stakes diplomatic attempt to address escalating global tensions. Donald Trump is visiting China for the first time since 2017, changing the diplomatic landscape by initiating high-level discussions regarding global trade and security. US-China presidential relations have hit their lowest point in nearly 10 years, reflecting a period of intense diplomatic tension and growing geopolitical instability. Skipping these meetings let disputes grow regarding maritime borders, semiconductor tech, and global trade tariffs, creating significant international instability. Direct, face-to-face diplomacy is back because both sides fear a sudden, accidental military miscalculation. The current era of global stress is marked by the largest number of armed conflicts since World War II. This includes the US-Israeli war with Iran, which looms over the high-stakes Trump-Xi summit. The stakes are high as the world's two largest economies frame their trade relationship, with European firms becoming collateral damage in the dispute. The summit runs this Thursday and Friday. Negotiators will likely work through the entire weekend to settle key issues. With Senator Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth attending, defense and national security will dominate the discussions, shaping the core of the upcoming political dialogue. These executives want stability after years of export controls, and tariffs have shaken the market, creating significant uncertainty across global supply chains. These 2 days of intensive talks cover critical topics including trade, technology, Taiwan, and the rapid rise of artificial intelligence. The debate over artificial intelligence is now a primary focus for policymakers and global leaders alike. Reports say Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is heading the USA negotiations. Trump plans a long talk with Xi about Iran, according to reports on the upcoming China summit. Many urge these topics are heavy, but we're seeing traditional soft power tactics being used as well. Using what some call panda diplomacy, China agreed to send 2 giant pandas to the US. This meeting matters. If Trump and Xi reach any specific deals regarding A regulation and Iran sanctions, they might actually avoid a much larger global conflict. A new US-China farm deal would likely increase Beijing's grain and meat imports, potentially boosting American agricultural exports. This high-stakes summit determines if the US and China can handle their intensifying rivalry without causing a sudden, devastating global economic collapse. AI regulation is now the main priority for global leaders. Both nations must decide whether to compete through isolation or build shared safety protocols together to manage emerging risks. A new agricultural pact depends on more than just sheer volume. We need to fundamentally restructure long-term procurement commitments to actually guarantee lasting market stability. Our domestic political shifts usually derail these high-level talks. Whether this week's agreement actually lasts depends on how the upcoming elections play out. Chipmakers are closely monitoring these negotiations. New restrictions on high-end exports will change how global tech companies operate and source their hardware. The summit agenda includes discussions on trade and artificial intelligence. However, a global energy crisis looms over the trip. Diplomats now seem to prefer de-escalation over confrontation. This change helps stop small border disputes from turning into much larger systemic global crises. High-stakes issues like Taiwan and the US-Israeli war with Iran loom over the trip. Global debt levels are rising rapidly. Negotiating terms for emerging economies now requires balancing competing national interests and specific creditor demands. The summit's logistics show how serious this is. Massive security teams are on site because both sides are planning for every possible conflict, ensuring total stability throughout the event. The summit's discussions carry global consequences as the world's 2 largest economies frame their trade relationship. Tensions also persist around the Strait of Hormuz. The summit agenda may include official discussions on managing the escalating rivalry in artificial intelligence. This summit succeeds only if it establishes predictable rules. Past, sudden policy shifts have directly shaken investor confidence across both markets, according to recent quarterly reports. The US-Israeli war with Iran and the resulting global energy crisis loom over the high-stakes summit. Efforts to ease tensions around the Strait of Hormuz remain a critical focus. The US-China trade relationship is being reframed as the world's 2 largest economies meet, while European firms struggle to navigate Beijing's export controls. These high-level talks will likely set the strategic direction for international investment through 2034. Global capital flows react immediately to every single signal sent from Beijing. US-led bans on high-end lithography tools caused a massive rift. Now both nations are searching for a real, workable compromise. The American delegation wants new intellectual property rights. Their main goal is ensuring that new inventions remain legally protected from theft. The ongoing US-China trade war has led to export controls that leave European firms scrambling to navigate Beijing's restrictions. If these negotiations fail, the global automotive supply chain will restructure, likely driving up car prices for every consumer. Farmers are watching these proceedings closely. New trade barriers would immediately impact export markets for American soy and corn, hurting us growers. A new agricultural pact could de-escalate tensions. Farmers need more predictable market access to plan their next seasons. The digital economy matters. Disputes over 5G infrastructure and cloud computing services are the main focus of these ongoing diplomatic negotiations, shaping the future of global connectivity. Governments are now scrambling to regulate IA. Setting clear safety rules might stop a reckless, uncontrolled technological arms race. Diplomats are currently prioritizing open communication. This approach helps prevent accidental military escalation and manages immediate global security risks. The stakes for regional security are high, as the summit addresses critical issues including Taiwan and the war involving Iran. The world's two largest economies are currently framing their trade relationship as leaders meet to discuss critical trade issues. Controlling rare earth elements is a strategic priority. China's current market dominance gives Beijing real leverage during any long-term trade negotiations. The summit will address various thorny issues, including trade and technology. And negotiators must decide how to handle intellectual property. Washington wants stronger enforcement rules to protect American companies and their specific new technologies. These talks also cover energy security and carbon reduction goals. Negotiating climate-related trade policies is still a major sticking point for the negotiators. Missing environmental standards might trigger new carbon border adjustment taxes. These specific taxes will change how much trans-Pacific shipping actually costs companies. Diplomats now demand transparency regarding undersea cable maintenance. Keeping global data networks secure is a priority for every nation involved in these networks. Wall Street traders believe US dollar stability depends on predictable bilateral trade terms. If the yuan fluctuates, it will likely trigger shifts across global currency markets. The South China Sea's shipping lanes are a constant source of tension. Avoiding naval clashes requires direct, active management of these maritime disputes. The summit is expected to focus on trade, Taiwan, and artificial intelligence. Trump will also discuss Iran with Xi. We are tracking every update from Beijing as these negotiations continue. Subscribe and hit the bell to see how this summit actually ends when we cover the results next week. Can Trump and Xi actually settle this, or is the divide permanent? Drop your theories in the comments. I want to hear them.